Today on Kidsmag,
the newest video game,
as we visit the Consumer Electronics Show.
Kidsmag is next. Good morning and welcome to Kidsmag. I'm Katie Lee.
And I'm Ruth Lamborn. Did you ever wish you could see the future? If so, then you'll enjoy today's show. We have a special edition of Kidsmag for you. Last weekend in Chicago, the biggest video game companies gathered together to give the world a preview of their newest games. And today, we're going to take you to the Consumer Electronics Show for a look at what's on the way this fall. Here's our tour guide, Kidsmag reporter Brandon Millman.
Twice a year, the biggest companies in the U.S. gather together to show off their newest video and computer games. That's what the Consumer Electronics Show is all about. And this year, all the companies were playing the number game. By the numbers game, I mean that they were talking about the kind of system they're making games for, or will be making games for. You all remember the original Nintendo system. It played 8-bit games. Then Sega brought out the Genesis system, a 16-bit system. That was followed by the Super Nintendo, another 16-bit system. Most of the games being shown were for one of those systems, but they weren't the only games around. A big display was set aside for the 32-bit 3DO system and the impressive games it offers. You could also find the machine that's behind the comeback of Atari, the 64-bit Jaguar. But the big two aren't asleep at the switch. Sega announced its new 32-bit system, which you'll see more of later in the show. Nintendo officially announced that its 64-bit game system, named Nintendo Ultra 64, will be hitting homes in the fall of 1995. Are you confused yet? We'll try to clear it up as we take you on a tour through the future of games and show you some of the new games you can be looking for.
Have you ever heard the phrase, "It's a jungle out there"? Well, at the Consumer Electronics Show, it was a jungle in there, in the Nintendo booth, that is. But there was a good reason for the jungle decor, as the company showed off a new game that stars a familiar face.
There's an old joke that goes like this. Where does a 500-pound gorilla sleep? The answer is anywhere at once. You could say the same thing about Nintendo. Its lineup features the biggest video game monkey around. That ape is also one of Nintendo's oldest stars. Back in 1981, he co-starred in a game with a little guy with a red cap who would later become Mario the plumber. The big gorilla in that game was named Donkey Kong. This is definitely the year of the ape at Nintendo, as Donkey Kong returns in a game for the portable Game Boy, and also stars in an incredible new game for the Super Nintendo system.
Well, one of our biggest games is Donkey Kong Country. It's for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and once you get a look at it, you won't even believe it's for the Super Nintendo. Donkey Kong uses something called ACM, Advanced Computer Modeling, and it's something that is utilizing the Silicon Graphics technologies. The characters that you see are very three-dimensional. There's a lot of depth in the game, a lot of rich colors, fantastic play control, and it's huge. The game keeps getting better and better each time you play it.
Of course, Donkey Kong isn't the only new game that's on the way. Another one is a remake of a classic arcade boxing game.
Super Punch-Out! For fans that remember, we had Punch-Out in the arcade, and we've finally taken it to the Super NES, and it's a lot of fun. You've got 16 different fighters, some you've seen before, some new ones, but it's great.
Of course, there are quite a few other games on the way, too.
We've got about a dozen games that are coming out for the second half. Tin Star for the Super NES, Stunt Race FX, which utilizes the FX chip, Uniracers, Illusion of Gaia. For the Game Boy, we have Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Land. And for the original Nintendo system, we also have Wario's Woods.
The weak link in Nintendo's lineup has always been the Game Boy. With only 2 colors and a tiny screen, it's tough enough to get the most out of the games. But that problem has finally been solved with an attachment that lets you play those Game Boy games on your TV set.
It's an accessory that looks like a Super Nintendo cartridge that fits into your Super Nintendo, so you can play Game Boy games on your TV screen, big and in color. So you finally get the Game Boy games in color. There's a lot of great titles on the Game Boy that haven't gotten a lot of attention, but now you can play them on the Super NES.
You can expect Nintendo to keep going all out as it tries to prove that it is still king of the video game jungle.
The fastest star in the world of video games has to be Sonic the Hedgehog, and he's the mascot for one of the fastest moving companies of them all, Sega. That company had plenty of big announcements at the show, and good reason to smile. Here's Brandon to explain.
The phrase you hear a lot around Sega is, "We're number one," and they have a good reason for yelling that. Sega has the number one 16-bit system with the Genesis, the number one CD-ROM system with Sega CD, and the number one color portable system, the Game Gear. Soon Sega will be able to add the only 32-bit system that upgrades for the 16-bit Genesis. That's what you have to look forward to with the Genesis 32X.
It's coming out in November, and what it's going to do is it's going to take everyone, we have, by the end of this year, there will be 18 million people who own Genesis systems and Sega CD. And those people will be able to take a 32X system, add it on, and suddenly all of their new games that are 32X games can play at 32 bits of power, which means better graphics, more fluid graphics, faster action, better modeling, so objects on the screen rotate and scale at a very realistic rate. It just means overall better gameplay.
The beauty of the Genesis 32X is that it's not a separate system that you buy. It plugs right into the original Genesis, so you can enjoy 16-bit or 32-bit games on the same unit. Of course, Sega has plenty of new games on the way. This one is top secret. They're only showing us the logo from the game, but the name says it all. It's called Sonic and Knuckles.
The most exciting thing that we have going on in software this year is Sonic and Knuckles. And it takes our character Sonic and introduces him to a new signature character for Sega called Knuckles.
Of course, Sega has a lot of other games on the way.
We're going to have a whole range of games that are based around new characters for Sega, characters we've designed ourselves. There's going to be a title called Dynamite Headdy. There's going to be a whole nother game called Baby Boom, which all have lovable characters that you've not seen before. Plus, we have some characters that people know and love, like Echo the Dolphin.
If you look at the video games out there on the racks, you'll notice that most of them are for older players. Sega hopes to give younger players some games of their own with two new lines. One is called Pico. Those games are aimed at kids under the age of 6. And then there's the Sega Club, which has games for kids over 6. With a new game system and loads of new games on the way, Sega continues to live by the phrase that any game fan will agree with, bigger is better.
Coming up next on Kidsmag, we'll check out the 3DO, the Jaguar, and tons of new games, so don't go away.
Welcome back. There's a lot of competition out there for your video game buck, and one of the newest faces in the world of games belongs to the 3DO system. Let's meet one of the proud papas of the new kid in town.
Most of us just think of video games as toys. But don't say that to R.J. Michael. He's one of the co-creators of the 32-bit 3DO system. And you'd have a tough time finding a bigger fan of the 3DO.
3DO is a company that's made a brand new game system that is the most cool game system of all the ones that are out there. It's got the ability to give you an experience when you're playing the games that is so much like reality that it's completely awesome. You can't believe how great it is until you actually get in there and play it yourself, because it's not like a toy. The other systems that are out there, like these little dinky toys that are not very much fun to play with. At least they're not fun to play with anymore after you had a chance to play with the 3DO.
You have to be impressed when you see the arcade quality of the 3DO system, and the newest games on display at the Consumer Electronics Show take the system to the limit.
We've got a bunch of titles here that are that show off the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, that give you kind of experiences that are so real, that have so much great stuff in it that you just can't stop playing them.
PF Magic's an interactive company, games company based in San Francisco's Multimedia Gulch. We've been around for a couple of years, and this is one of the first games that we have out on the market. WOWK is a 3D pinball game where you are the pinball inside of a video pinball machine.
Crystal Dynamics is a software publisher and developer. We're going on our 2nd anniversary next month. We have 4 titles here at the CES show that we're showing. Gex is one of them right behind me. Also Star Control 2, Samurai Showdown, and Off-World Interceptor. Gex behind me is an original 3D character game for the 3DO system. And actually, Gex is our gecko lizard here. Yeah, it's a very, very fun game. He's a very lively character. Samurai Showdown is a fighter action game, and basically it is a best-selling arcade game that we are actually porting to 3DO, so we're very excited about it.
The one complaint that most game players have about the 3DO is that it's an expensive system. It costs about $500, but according to Mr. Michael, there is a good reason for that cost.
It's the biggest and best thing. And we had to pack a lot of stuff in there to get it to be as powerful as it is. So there's, these super powered engines in there that make the really great looking graphics and make the audio be as real as it is. And that stuff isn't free. You gotta pay for it somewhere. And so it is more expensive than some of the other systems, but not by much. And you get what you pay for.
As for the future, the 3DO will become more than just a video game machine. It'll also let you play movies.
My partner Dave and I invented this machine, and so we're real happy with it. And it's really exciting for me to see all of the really great stuff that people are now doing with it. There's so many good pieces of software now. There's a ton of them. There's like already 60 titles now. And there's going to be as many as 100 titles available by this Christmas. And each title that comes out is a little bit better than the last one, a little bit more fun, a little bit more excitement, better colors, better, animation and stuff like that. I can't wait to see what people are going to do next.
From the newest game in the business, let's move to the oldest. But don't be fooled, Atari isn't ready to retire. They're taking pride in their Jaguar system. It's the first 64-bit game system to hit the market.
So which video game company has been around the longest? That title goes to Atari.
Atari invented the game business. We were the first company out with a machine called Pong back in the mid-'70s. Then there was the Atari 2600, and now the Atari Jaguar, 64-bit.
Atari faded from view for a while in the late 80s, but now that company is back in a big way with the first 64-bit machine, the Jaguar.
We're about 1.5 years to 2 years ahead of the competition, and it's made in the United States, actually North Carolina.
At the show, Atari showed off some of its newest games for the Jaguar.
There's some fantastic games. One is called Alien vs. Predator, which you'll see back in the back. That's fantastic. A fighting game called Kasumi Ninja, which is just awesome. And Checkered Flag, and just wonderful games.
And Atari will soon release a CD-ROM attachment for the Jaguar, so don't expect this cat to slow down at all.
We just introduced over there our new CD-ROM player. So it's a peripheral you attach on top of the Jaguar, and the CD-ROM will sell for $199. And with that, you'll have full motion video. Characters moving on the screen all the time, live characters, CD quality sound. Really is fantastic.
You've met the companies that make the game systems. Now let's kick it in gear and check out some of the amazing games that are being prepared for this fall. Get ready for a look into the future of video games.
So far, we've looked at some of the latest game systems. Now let's look at some of the new games that will be heading in our direction. And since those will feature Street Fighters, Mortal Kombat, and every other kind of game you can imagine, my advice is, duck!
Where were you when Mortal Monday arrived? Lots of kids were standing in line to pick up their copy of Mortal Kombat when it was released for the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis systems. Well, get ready, because almost 1 year later, it's Mortal Monday all over again, as Acclaim releases Mortal Kombat 2 with new characters and more action than before. Acclaim has lots of other games on the way too, including the newest adventure of Spider-Man, Venom, and an army of heroes and villains in Maximum Carnage.
Maximum Carnage, which is a great Marvel Comics game featuring Spider-Man and Venom. It's based on Marvel's 14-part comic book epic. We've got a couple of new Simpsons games. That's Virtual Bart and Itchy and Scratchy, Bart's Cartoon Heroes. We'll be doing a great new wrestling game called WWF Raw. And also what we're calling the Madden Eater. It's NFL Quarterback Club. That'll be a 24-meg football game. Just amazing.
Acclaim also used the event to show off its newest motion capture animation system.
We'll be introducing our first game utilizing motion capture technology next year for Sega's Genesis 32X system. But what's amazing is what you think you're looking at human actors, and they're actually just numbers, ones and zeros created by computers. It's the future.
Another fighting game you just might have heard of is Street Fighter II. That game is the pride and joy of a company called Capcom. Like game fans, they know a good thing when they see it, so they're bringing out the newest edition of that beat-em-up. It's called Super Street Fighter II.
We're really happy with it. The play is great, and it's an exact translation of the arcade game, which is pretty much hard to find. A lot of the other arcade translations leave a lot out. They have to keep stuff out just for the sake of memory. But with Super, we went all out with the memory and included some other fun things that weren't in the coin-op.
Capcom also has quite a few other new games on the way, featuring some famous and not so famous faces.
We're going to see 2 new Disney titles. We've got Mickey and Minnie's Great Circus Mystery coming out. Real fun game. And we've also got Bonkers, which is another Disney character from the Disney Afternoon. We've also got, by early '95, we'll have the sequel to Mega Man X coming out. We've got Demon's Crest coming out, the X-Men game, which is a fantastic platform fighting game based on one of the most popular comic books in town. It boggles the mind.
Sunsoft was hooping it up as the looniest basketball squad ever, featuring the stars like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and Yosemite Sam hit the court for the wildest game of hoops you've ever played.
It will play anything from a conventional, serious game of basketball to a full-blown Looney Tunes basketball game with all kinds of slapstick, comical, humorous, funny things happening.
Sunsoft has some other old favorites making a comeback too.
This is Arrow the Acrobat 2, and it's a great game featuring very high-level animation, cute cartoon comical character, lots of voice and sound effects.
Companies use the electronics show to make big announcements, and that's what Sony ImageSoft did, as they premiered a new game starring the most famous mouse in the world. We're all on a first-name basis with Mickey, aren't we?
Mickey Mania, The Timeless Adventures of Mickey Mouse, is one of our premier titles for 1994. We're very excited about this title. We co-produced the title with Disney Software, and Disney animated all of the animation frames in the game. There are about 1,300 frames of animation in the game. There are 25 levels in the game. Mickey has a lot of personality, a lot of character in the game. It's a really great playing game.
Sony is also bringing out loads of sports games with ESPN. Interplay had a big hit last year with Clay Fighters, a fighting game that stars the wildest characters that ever duked it out. And they're following up with, of course, Clay Fighters 2. One of the hit games at the show was also one of the most disgusting. It's called Booger Man, and I can't even describe its powers, but it is a funny game.
Well, excitement with Booger Man, kind of a new concept, and you know, everybody refers to him as he's not your ordinary hero. So it's kind of gross concept, but I mean, it is so cool, and the kids love it. And it's really good, clean fun. Well, clean maybe. We've got Blackthorn, which is kind of it's called 3D rotoscoped animation, but it gives you very fluid animation. Very high-quality video game. My 11-year-old son said to me, he says, "Dad, you guys finally got it right."
Over at Ocean, the key word is movies. Their big titles are based on some of the biggest movies around.
We have the Flintstones for both the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. The gameplay is based on the movie. Other games that Ocean has coming up would be Addams Family Values, again based on the Hollywood movie of the same name. We also have The Shadow.
When it comes to putting out games based on movies, JVC doesn't fool around. Their games are based on two of the greatest movies ever, Indiana Jones and Star Wars.
The premiere, of course, is Super Return of the Jedi, the third in the trilogy. 16-meg action adventure title, follows the movie line straight from start to finish. It's going to be a great title for us. The number 2 title would be Indiana Jones Greatest Adventures. It follows all 3 of the movies of the Indiana Jones trilogy. It includes all of the best action scenes of the 3 movies in one game pack.
Things are really out of control at Konami, thanks to the Warner Brothers. No, not the movie company. I'm talking about the Animaniacs.
They're just mischievous characters, but they're a lot of fun, And our games will translate that look and feel of the cartoon right in the gameplay. So the children who watch the show can get that same experience through our games.
One of the most unusual games around is being put out by Accolade. It's called Balls, because that's what the characters who fight it out are made up of. Lots of different colored spheres.
They can stretch throughout to punch, and they can roll, and they can explode and come back together again, and it's a very non-violent game. It's the kind of game that I think parents would like their kids to have if they're going to have a fighting game, because it's actually, if it can be said, a non-violent fighting game.
There are certain characters that become famous, and it's not easy to understand why. But there's no doubt that Beavis and Butthead have hit the big time, and Viacom New Media is putting out a game that stars a disgusting duo.
Coming out this fall, we've got Beavis and Butthead cartridge games, which are based on MTV's Beavis and Butthead, and really in order to play them effectively, I think you have to think like Beavis and Butthead, so that's sort of a fun product we have coming out.
One of the newest companies out there is called Rocket Science. They have 2 great-looking games on the way. One set in deep space, and the other pits man against dinosaur.
Well, Lodestar is set on the moon in the 21st century, and your objective as Tully Bodine, a space trucker, is to get off the moon before the sheriff catches you. In Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, it's a world 600 years in the future where inexplicably dinosaurs, 53 Cadillacs, and you coexist, and your objective is to dodge the Cadillacs and turn off an ancient nuclear reactor before it poisons the Earth.
The U.S. has soccer fever, or at least it should have it, since the World Cup is being played right here. To catch the fever, U.S. Gold has prepared a special World Cup soccer game. Here's a look.
Up next on Kidsmag, we'll look at the computer games and more fun stuff. Stay right there.
Welcome back. A growing part of the video game industry is based in the world of computer games. There you can find amazing adventures that take you from the world of fantasy to the edge of outer space. You can find some of the games loaded on the format of the future. Here's Brandon to tell you all about it.
So what's the computer format of the future? Most people will tell you it's a compact disc or CD-ROM. Judging by the rapid increase in sales, they're right.
One of the most impressive computer games on display belonged to Spectrum Holobyte. The game is based on the TV show Star Trek: The Next Generation, and it features amazing graphics as the crew of the Enterprise takes part in an incredible adventure.
Well, Star Trek: The Next Generation, Final Unity, is probably the most exciting new product that we're introducing at the show. It picks up where the series takes off now that the series is over with. It's a completely original piece of fiction. It is not a redo of any of the episodes. It is an epic adventure beyond your wildest imagination. It's a PC CD-ROM title, and it'll be on the shelves in late September. In this one, it has all the voices of the TV cast as well. So all of the characters that you saw in the show are going to be in this product as well, as you pretty much navigate throughout the solar system, solving a Star Trek Next Generation style puzzle.
Incredible and incredibly successful are 2 ways to describe the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And now the heroes from that show are starring in a new CD-ROM that's now available. The program includes 5 stories from the series. Kids can watch the whole story or piece it together in any order they want. Some of the greatest programs for kids can be found with the name Brooder Buns stamped on them. And that company has several new titles on the way, including one that takes you into the cartoon that keeps on searching for Carmen Sandiego.
Broderman's showing 3 new multimedia products for a Christmas release. We have Math Workshop, which is a math educational product for primary school children. We've got Alien Tales, which is a reading encouragement product for 9 years old to 13 years old. And we have Carmen Jr., which is a junior version of the Carmen Sandiego product for 5 to 7-year-old children.
Broderbund has also joined forces with Random House to produce the Living Books series. That's a top-notch, award-winning line of adventures that bring books and the fun of reading them to life. Interplay also showed off its MacPlay line of games targeted to the Apple Macintosh gamers.
We've got the Peter Gabriel Explorer title, which is now out on the Macintosh. It'll be coming out on the PC this fall. We think that's going to be an exciting product, really open up a whole new market.
Oceans showcased its space adventure game called Inferno by bringing the game's creator to the show. And yes, Sean Hollywood is his real name.
This is Inferno. It's a space game. It takes place in a whole solar system. And what you have to do is fend off an alien attack. The gaming environment's like every planet. You go down onto every planet, go into any building. And the gameplay is vast.
Had enough yet? We've really just scratched the surface of the latest games and technology that were on display at the Consumer Electronics Show in Chicago last week. For the rest of it, you'll just have to wait and see what the future holds. Hope you've enjoyed the trip. I'm Brandon Millman, reporting for Kidsmag.
Kidsmag will be back next week with a look at some local plays, and we'll present the film I Need a Date. We leave you with one last look at the Consumer Electronics Show. See you next time.
Have a great week.